When you hit a bell, you know you are in the championship rounds. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is King Amin of Essex featuring my guy, Mr. Let him introduce himself.
Mr. Bodywork Boxing. You know what I'm talking about? When we do that body work. I'm doing something right. Salute, young king. Doing something right, man. I keep putting in that body work. I keep getting to the championship rounds, man. Feel good. It feel good.
Listen, man, we here. We always have to bring our contribution. I think we got a good thing going. We're gonna keep a good thing going. And one thing that's going on right now, before we get into the salaciousness, I want to know. We saw a hand come in. That's Prince. That's my
Oh, Prince.
youngest, right?
Okay. Uh-huh.
But like sometimes when people see those things as aberrations, they think it's the boogeyman, right? And I
Right.
and I just want to know because people like using this name. This so and so's the boogeyman. We've been talking about Bubu Andrade. He was once known as the boogeyman. Janibek, Janibek Alakomedi
Right.
is his name, Qazaq Style. He was just granted, I guess, a WBO title defense against Denzel Bentley. I watch a lot of UK boxing, so I happen to know a lot about Denzel Bentley. And I just want to put it out there because we kind of talked about it behind the scenes. But what do you think of Janibek, first of all, the reputation as the boogeyman? And what do you think about this matchup?
Uh, as far as the reputation, I think that we're kind of putting the cart before the horse a little bit. You know, one thing we can say is if you don't belong in there with him, he's gonna make sure that he dispatch of you. But in today's day and age, I mean, he's not that far in. There was some political things that was going on as to how he actually arrived at the belt. And remember, we gave Andre the mulligan, right? And we said that one thing grew legs, So it's kind of like that would have qualified if we could really stamp and say, man, Boo Boo really got out the way because he was scared of what was going to happen inside the ring. That's one thing. Um, but as far as the fight, when it come to Bentley, I saw that he's orthodox and he likes to keep his left hand low. And every time a man hit him, man, he was getting hit with rights. Well, Janibek is a southpaw,
Mm.
and that's the lead hand. He's a kung fu fighter. He has suddenness, and he's young. He's not out here popping his collar. I've never seen him in Vegas. I don't even know if he has Instagram. I think he's somewhere, what I'm saying, might be punching the cow in the ribs right now.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So if,
serious.
if Denzel ain't ready, what do you think, man? What do you think on Denzel? Because he has some bad habits, but he can go on offensive a little bit. So go ahead.
And no, you pointed that out. The bad habits is what's going to make him very vulnerable. I think his experience is his best asset, and he's going to have to try to outbox. I mean, you pointed to the youth, and when you're young, he do have an Instagram because I had to look how to spell his name and pronounce it right. So
Right.
when you young, sometimes you have an ignorance for that experience. In other words, he's not going to be looking for traps. He's going to be looking, like you said, to be the southpaw, to lead with them right hands, and to be offensive. One thing I know about, training a little bit as a southpaw, when I watch southpaw fighters, even when Terrence Crawford switches to southpaw, your defense is your offense. You intend on imposing and picking apart more than you trying to finesse and score. um
Right.
Bentley's going to be trying to score, but he's going to probably get scored on. His chin and how that holds up will be the test. But I think even if he does something impressive, that's not going to make him the boogeyman, because out of sight, out of mind, that don't make you the boogeyman. You know what I'm saying? So again, just because you see a hand coming up on screen, it might just be a baby boy. It ain't no boogeyman.
Right. Good point. Good point. I mean, the win doesn't do anything. It keeps him active.
Mm-hmm.
In the history books, I always like to say perception versus reality, and in the history books, it's gonna go down as a title defense because he
Yeah.
has the title. So it's official. This is how it goes. This is what we're looking at in the history books. But what you're doing is having some responsible journalism by stating that You know, who is it? What does it do? We don't know. You know, the step up game has to be there. I mean, it has to come at some point. I mean, we got to get a name. And somehow, when it comes to the Boogeyman, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is always very interesting, right? A lot of the times, it's always in the bad boy, you know, when they walk around, they have the moniker, but somehow those fights really never get made to really test and qualify that those are boogeymen. You know what I'm saying? So
The fight that scare
somehow those
us.
fights,
We don't get the
yeah,
fight that's supposed to spook us. Like, oh,
right.
now that's going to
So
lead us in.
we don't, you know, like we're trying to see. Go ahead.
No, that's going to lead us in because talking about fights that you don't see now, the boxing scene reported on Juan Montiel, the gentleman that fought Jamal Charlo at middleweight. And the reason why I'm saying it in this context is because people didn't think highly of Montiel just because we never heard of him. But that fight went to a draw. It was a competitive fight. Now, you know, Montiel says, I understand why Charlo didn't fight me. It's a lot more to lose than it is to gain. A reason why I wanted to talk about that is because now what you might begin to hear is now Montiel's going to become a boogeyman. A guy we never seen, we never heard of, is in a competitive fight. And all of a sudden, even though it makes sense for a fighter to go another direction, if that fighter avoids him, now Montiel sort of will get the label of going from avoided, because that's how we make this moniker. First, we start talking about how avoided a fighter is. And then at that token, why isn't Charlo a boogeyman? There's a lot of fights we wanted to see from him at middleweight, and he has seemed to have been avoided. Okay, so what do you think about Montiel's comments in that light?
He's right. I mean, he is right in the fact that, you know, if Big Maul was to fight him again, you know, it would be high risk, low reward. And the risk is not even really what Montiel is going to do with him inside the ring. You got to put things back into perspective that was a clear blowout. You know, it's almost like the same thing that happened when Devin Haney fought Jorge Linares, and everybody, you know, I myself said, oh, he got rocked, you know, and he stanky leg. But let's not forget that it was a 10 it was like a 10-2 type fight, and that fight was actually like I mean, it was a blowout. Like it was so wide. I mean, I think the reputation of Charlo took a hit because they look back and they say, oh, well, Jaime Munguia stopped this guy at a lower weight class. And you know, sometimes fighters are draining themselves down. It's all kind of things as to why they fought down there. Sure. So reputation wise, that's all you hear about when you hear about Charlo now. I was like, oh man, he went tooth and nail with Montiel, you know, and I'm like, well, let's look at what the judges said and what actually happened in that fight, and we got to be factual, you know. So it really doesn't. I mean, why would you go down and have your reputation tarnished when this guy is looking for like a knockout shot? So he got to find his way, but Charlo has to get active because his inactivity does not aid anybody in his defense.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
it doesn't help the division at all. And it gives room to these kind of things that are happening now. We're going to talk side of the street nonsense, but if Qazaq Style is that, right, and he's got a middleweight strap, Charlo and Qazaq needs to happen. You know what I'm saying? I know that's just me pitching this out there, but so we can stop this boogeyman phenomena, somebody need to scare me and make me believe, because 160 is probably that division where you just lukewarm.
Yeah, it's a lot of quote unquote measuring sticks and gatekeepers. Like, because you for a while you had the Gabe Rosados floating around. You know, I think you got like I think Beck the Bully and all them. They're coming up and they're like, it's a lot of guys they're mixing it up, but it's slowly but surely. It's like older fights. When you go back and you look at Montiel, he has actually fought some guys. Yeah. He's just not a guy that want to put, you know, butts in seats because, you know, maybe it's the image, maybe it's the marketing, maybe it's how, you know, it's just he's just one of them guys that's going to get in. So I mean, they got to mix it up, man. I was one of the first people that called and said, hey, now this guy has a belt. There's no excuses now, and he called you out. He said your name. So I mean, if Canelo can go up and do this, and everybody just going to go grab belts, and you know, Devin got a Cambosis for his, man, stop this boogeyman, lubing this man. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And give us what we want because what they gonna say? Because he had a belt. That's why I fought him. And you can get whatever you want from him. I mean, he gonna take whatever you want because he at the mercy of trying to prove himself. Now you got to come with it.
Yeah. And that would give him
So
more leverage, you know, especially with the inactivity. That's why I think people favor Mel, you know, and say, look at what he did. He's going to go out there and whoever got the belts and try to do that. And I think, salute to Janibek, salute to Denzel Bentley, good luck. Salute to Montiel securing a fight at 160 that either brings him back around to the Charlo fight or a fight better than the Charlo fight. And salute to Charlo. Ronnie, talk to this fool. We need to see something, man. Ronnie Shields need to holler at him or
we
something.
do. Man, I just, I mean, I probably need to go hard and I just no access. There's no information, man. It's like it's when they don't give you anything, it's like hey, look, man, I'm your defense attorney. Give me something to work with.
Well,
Something.
you know
what
what?
I'm saying? We want to see them. We're
Well,
not gonna forget about you, but we want to see you.
Let's touch it lightly. Let's touch it lightly because we do know that recently, while I've been doing my research, that case that came up, it seems as though it is, as far as a domestic family issue, there was some discord in his personal relationship, and I know how those things can weigh heavy. I think that Jamel has been a great support to him through that. I think now is a good time, though, if he can kind of come clear of that. I'm sure that there's still, the legal aspect or if there's proceedings that involve, but I think that personal issues, I do want to give him credit. Personal issues will affect your career trajectory. And I'm not trying to put his personal business out there, but we are human beings. And I think if people understood that, it would help us to understand the inactivity aside from the choice of opponents. We know that he had the injury with Janibek and all, but the bully, but also too, this could have been something that got in there as well.
Yes, I totally agree. I mean, you got to be understanding. I would say that at the end of the day, if Charlo, if he's still in it and he still got it, because I believe he do. I think that when you look at this a little bit over a year, I mean, he fought almost, it was a couple months before Bud, and Bud still haven't fought either. It's just perception versus reality again. I say that, man, you got to stop listening to everybody. If you need a get back, you know what I'm saying? You need to get back in there and get active or whatever. Pick a name, you know what I'm saying? Somebody legit, pick a name and get back to winning. Because at the end of the day, man, if you don't fight, they're gonna talk about you. If you do fight, they're gonna talk about you. Either way, you're gonna get paid. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna add to your resume and just get back active. So I positive vibe his way, and I hope he bounced back. So that's that on Mr. Maul, man.
Well, we're gonna shift gears and talk about the drama that's more accessible to us because we were anticipating. Now we don't know what the hell's going on with this fight this weekend. When we talked about it not too long ago, and it seems like I poignantly clipped this. How you spoke about this on the last show, man. It's Ben and Eubank Ben. Conor Benn tested positive for what's being considered a PED, a performance-enhancing drug. According to reports, that was an early sample, and he has since tested clean. Man, what do you think?
Just when I thought that Eddie wasn't gonna do the dun 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 dun, dun the circus, because at first my first impulse was like, man, this circus. I was thinking it was a circus. Then I got to thinking, I said, okay, well, it got a little history with the fathers, and what I'm saying, that battle, and then it is a big bag, and who am I? They don't go get a couple, million. Who am I? But at the same time, we was talking about how it just didn't make sense at that point in time with the weight differences, and then I kept hearing a lot of crying about this man having to come down a couple extra pounds. I'm like 3 extra pounds, but we talking about giving this man millions of shillings. You know what I'm saying? Like he signed his name on it. So they had me sold, man. It's like, man, I went to a after hours club, man. It was it wasn't they couldn't get all the way with it, you know. So they had me in the door. I'm ready to see. I'm ready to go. They had me built up, and then I was pulling for Ben because Eubanks was saying, "Oh, I gotta be 60%." Then you see him eating all the crazy kind of foods and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and I'm like, "Okay, all right." And I know that Ben is a destroyer. They call him the destroyer. Well, he just had a little hit on his legacy because I mean, one thing I do, I support the brothers, but I don't do the PEDs. You know what I'm saying? That's you lost one, man, with me, man. I just got keep it 100. It's going to keep going and everything. I mean, first thoughts when you heard about it.
I'm gonna take you back a bit, and I'm a Panama Lewis you. I'm a Panama Lewis you. Give me the water, but give me the one I mixed. All right. Listen, first of all, if I got it correct, you from the DMV area, right? DMV
Yep,
area.
yep,
Now,
yeah, yep, Lando, yep.
now I went to Howard. I raised a little hell out there. I done been around Petworth. I done been up, a little bit through KDY, you know what I'm saying? And I done been up Rhode Island, I've been Northeast, folks on Trinidad. I've been to a few go-go's. And what I know about them
Oh
go-go's
yeah,
is some of them brothers, it's security there, but they stack the odds in their favor.
yes,
You know what I'm
yes,
saying? And so
yes.
Conor Benn, what he did was he stacked the odds in his favor. He had something on him, whether he had it in the boot, in the car. I mean, when you push somebody to this level, and we do it right here in the bricks, when you go to the after hour spot, if you don't have it on you, what chance do you have? He don't have no chance in this fight without doing something crazy. So I'm not encouraging PEDs, but this is why we said when you push somebody for this kind of fight, maybe wait till they get older and they body mature and they can meet like what Khan and Brooke did. When you older, you can meet at a weight that's
Right,
comfortable. Y'all ain't.
exactly,
I'm like, bruh. So when
exactly.
you see the man cheating, what you expect him to do? If you see me in the after hour spot in Newark, New Jersey, I ain't telling on myself. You get what I'm saying? If he's if he got
Right.
a fight at 157, I'm pretty sure he got it on him.
You gotta, you got to, man. And then I heard somebody say, man, now they said, well, now we see why he's been so confident, why he's been talking about the boots, why he's been talking about the Virgil. So that was just business. You know, it's a microwave generation. I thought that instead of looking at Khan and Brooks like, microwave generation, oh man, we can get that same bag, man. Hey, you got connections. Hey, let's get the stadium. Let's get this. We can do this. Instead of being microwave, where they should have said, you know what? That's the retirement package. We don't know what's going on. Let me get it in where I'm at. Then you don't got to go to such drastic measures. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know. And they said it can only be taken in pill form, from what I heard. But the reputation, and just like when Oscar Valdez, when he, ain't a black or some kind of tea, so some
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
hot, hot beverage with some leaves in it. Right after that, they start saying, "Oh man, was that how he was able to do it to Burchell?" So it starts a ripple effect to where they start looking at what he just did to Algerian, and it's other fighters like Van Heerden, and so it's a big hit. They're gonna try to like just run right over it because of the capitalism that we always talk about, getting that bag.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen now.
Because right now, as it stands, at least my understanding is they can petition a commission for an exemption based on the preceding tests if they rule that those tests are valid. So it's still so subjective for the sake of business. It's so subjective for the sake of business. And I look at it now at this point, and it's gonna sound a bit cruel, but I want the fight to happen, and I hope nothing bad happens, but I want the fight to happen because now you have to go through it because all the opportunities that were on the table for both these fighters are still there, but I'm not sure who want to do business with Conor Benn now. Am I being naive in saying that some people are going to say, man, that's why I knew I didn't want to fight, that UK cat, have to go over there and fight him or have to deal with Eddie Hearn and them. I don't know. Does that, does that begin to resonate now?
Well, I think boxers are going to say it. You know, if anybody had any kind of trepidation, any kind of concern, or if you fell in that high risk, low reward for anybody, that's going to be your chink in the armor, and that's going to be the little thing to where they can say, we ain't paying you that much, so your pay is going to take a hit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're probably not going to get no smoke from somebody that you probably could smoke naturally, because they're going to use that as an excuse. I do know that Valdez actually did proceed and actually went on and fought. He looked like, you know what I'm saying, boo-boo when he actually fought.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Constance out when he got robbed, but his venue was able to go. So now we get a measuring stick as to how they're going to handle it over there. Like, you know, how they're going to handle these proceedings, because it's happening over there, and people saying, you know, how convenient, you know, that the first one is, I mean, you know, I don't know. But we're gonna watch and see if it proceeds further. Too much money in it. Eddie don't sound like he's gonna try to squash it. He like, hey, let's get the party going. Hey, give me a double.
Absolutely. He doesn't sound
The
concerned at
undercard and
all, man.
everything, right?
Yeah, it sounds like they're moving forward
So
full steam ahead with the promotion, and you know we're going to see what we get out of it. And because you know I hate for all the other fighters' opportunities on the undercard to get vanquished as well. That's the disappointing part. So you know,
yeah, it's almost like you gotta go ahead, but you know, it's like man, these people gotta eat. People got children. People train. You know, it wasn't their fault. So we'll see, man. We gotta do a after we see it. You know, we gotta do a recap after we see it all, and you know, and talk about it.
absolutely, man, we're going to capture that, and what we need to capture because it's you know on that card. We'll talk about it later, but we got to capture something that is very important, and we're waiting on that fight to happen as well next week. But we talking about women's boxing. This is Wednesday, women's boxing Wednesdays. All right, we got two great fighters. I know I'm chomping at the bit to get off. So let me get off with this young lady. I gotta pull the trigger early. Skye Nicolson. Skye Nicolson from
Yeah.
Australia. And let me tell you something. She looked like her name is Brittany. Her middle name is Brittany. Cute as a button, little dot nose. And what I mean by that, I'm old enough as an older man. You can see younger people. You like, oh, you know, they're adorable. You know what I'm saying? You look at your son, oh, he's a good looking kid.
Right.
She's such an
Yeah.
adorable young lady. I mean that respectfully. It's not, you know what I mean? But I'm
Right.
telling you, she is a mean girl. She is very, very
Mm.
mean. She enjoys punching girls in the face, and her slickness, her fluid nature reminds me, hands down, Sergio Martinez.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that's a big comparison. Of course, she's only 5 fights in, but what I mean about the type of fighter that is technical enough that's going to depend on the jab. She's a southpaw, like Sergio Martinez. She's going to rely on that jab to continue the athleticism. So she ain't doing no hooks with it, but she's gonna go with the straight left all day. And so she's coming in using her footwork. She'll jab a little bit, but she'll consistently come over the top, and then she'll begin to lead with a straight left. Now she doesn't have the power. She's learning how to sit down on her punches. But when I'm telling you, I enjoy watching her slickness and I enjoy watching that style of fighting, man. Please, ladies and gentlemen. And she's so active, so active. I think her next fight is the 15th of November, sometime next month. But please, yo, Skye Nicolson, man.
Yeah. Is she on the Seniesa Estrada card? Is that the same card? The 12th? Is that the 12th? It might be the 12th.
Might
But
be the 12th.
yeah,
I think you're
when I
right.
seen her, she's very athletic. And I know men be like, hi Sky, you know what I'm saying? Because she do, you know, attract eyeballs. She has the image, and you know, with women, man, you know, that's one of the things that it appeals and it gets men to actually watch. You know what I'm saying? So she easy on the eyes. She is in her development phase. I think they are moving her right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe she can go ahead and build on that jab and come behind it with something, because if she's on that same car as the one I'm talking about, Seniesa Superbad Estrada, she is super bad. I've been having her in my intro. When I first saw her, I said, good gracious. You know what I'm saying? Big things come in small packages. You know what I'm saying? Because she will slap you to sleep. You hear me? She got the fastest knockout in 7 seconds in 2020. She I think she's number 6 on pound for pound boxing rankings, women's boxing rankings. She is like 29, less than half, but the way she throw her combinations, I mean, she has it all. I see she goes body, head, step back, head, body, head, and then it was a 4-piece with a biscuit. You know what I'm saying? She tried to give her 2 on the way down. You know what I mean? So she is I think she's out of Cali and she's a Latina, Mexican descent, but she's with Top Rank now.
Yeah, just signed with Top
So she's
Rank.
making her top rank, her top rank debut. I don't know what happened with her other ordeal, but she looks happy. I see her training on Instagram all the time, and she's a monster. So if you don't know about her, this is our push to actually get more people to actually, push for women's boxing because they don't play any games. The best do fight the best. They know that bag is limited. And look at this. People are coming up hot and doing things like this and fights in jeopardy. And these women know that they have to get in the ring and they have to prove themselves, and they give you a good show. So check it out.
Definitely. And shout out to Superbad Seniesa Estrada. Very fast hands. I love her work. And again, she is a, nice looking lady. Which very much so helps the sport because when you have, younger eyes on it, I can say for myself, when my daughter look at it, she might consider herself, my daughter is very much a girly girl. She loves makeup and nails and everything. But guess what? My daughter also likes to hit the bag. And my daughter's, she's physical. So it's making
Right,
it
right, right,
very doable for that type of girly girl
right,
to also maintain interest in the
right.
physicality within the sport. So I
Yes,
personally
yes,
am paying attention to that aspect.
yes.
So shout out to these ladies as they continue to put in that work.
Good point. Good point. Good point.
And I just want to keep it women's boxing because I want to get to the undercard of hopefully this fight that's going to happen. I was looking at it, and you have Ellie Scottney on there. Ellie Scottney is 5-0. She had a very controversial fight over what's my girl name? Ganglies. I forgot her first name, like Madeline Ganglies or something like that. It was her
Okay.
second fight.
Mm-hmm.
Ellie Scottney, when we talk about Matchroom and women's fighters being brought along, Ellie Scottney in probably her 6th fight, she's in there against very stiff competition, Spanish, Mary Romero. Let me just say, most, if not all, of the fighters from Spain are always technical, always very good. Mary Romero's 8-2, very well tested. This could be a sleeper, very firefight on this card if you guys get the chance to watch it. I don't know if this one's going to be on the behind the bell how they usually do or on the main card,
Right.
but please check this one out on that one, man.
Yeah, I think Scottney, she has great upper body movement, but she's so relaxed and she will stay right in front of you. She can slip. I seen her slip and rip to the body. I mean, on both sides. I mean, I'm talking about she can swim without getting wet. Like she can stand right in front. And when she get in her groove, I think the later on it goes, and she's just a brutalizer. Like as the fight go on, she just the same spot over and over again, just putting a little bit more sauce on it, like
Yeah.
sauce on the ribs, coming back up top. And I see her being very good. She keep this up. She keeps stepping up the level and she still her game plan losing the fight the next day.
And this, in fact, is a step up. And I guess that's what I was roundabout getting to. This is a step up in this fight. Even after 6 fights in, this could lead her to some very good fights in the future. So I just want to let people know, Scottney's at super bantamweight. I know, Ebony Bridges in them is at bantamweight. So, things can happen. Keep an eye on Ellie Scottney, man. Anything else you want to get to?
Fundora.
Okay.
I want to talk about Fundora, man. This man, I actually been doing a resume X-ray. I'm putting something together on him, and I just did another one of my boxers to watch collections on him. But that man is dangerous. When I actually look at it, right? I mean, when I last week, I think the last time we talked and we brought him up, I said that I don't know if he's ready for Jamel.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that he can actually beat Jamel. I don't really know. I'm riding with Jamel until proven otherwise. But when I look at his resume, that's one thing. He actually has the name. So this guy's a stat resume like who at 154. The style, I thought that would have been a good style since they like the bang and her like to just stand in there. That would have been a brutal, like that might could have been a trilogy the way they like to fight because they both got the reach. They got the height and the reach, but they just was gonna be inside, you know what I'm saying? Basically rock 'em, sock 'em. But Fundora is dangerous. I think he has an exceptionally good chin. I seen him get rocked in several fights, and people think, oh man, he will get caught coming in. But you have to jump on him and stay on him. But if you let him recover, he has a mean streak where he actually gets mad and he comes in and he imposes his will. I think that people are really sleeping on him. You know, I'm not sure what Ocampo is going to be able to do with him, but I think that this is like a slam dunk. And I think Fundora is looking to make a statement because he's one of them guys, the young guys that's putting in the work. I've never heard him be disrespectful to any other opponent. You know, people be saying something about his wins and how he's getting them and whatever. I'm like, he can make the weight. And I think at one point in time, he said he can go lower than that. So I think we need to look out for Fundora. And if you get a chance, go back and look at his resume and where he's at because he's actually seeking the smoke and he's not ducking any.
Yeah.
So that's a boxer to watch. And lastly, Gary Antonio Russell. He got a fight coming up on the Plant Darrell undercard.
Okay.
And maybe we can chop it up, but that's the middle brother. And I call him the combination guy. He's from Capitol Heights, just like Mr. Gary Russell and Gary Antoine, the whole family. You know, but check him out. He's in my league of shadows of boxers to watch, you know, that's coming up. So just something to think about or look up, you know, if you're checking for new boxers and some of the lesser, like the lower names or the building fighters, you know, somebody to check out.
No, definitely. I always had an eye on, and we're gonna do a whole breakdown of the Russell family. Like I said, we're gonna do a DMV. We got a lot to do, man. We got a lot of work to do. We got a DMV show we got to get into. We're gonna get into them Russells. Speaking on Fundora real quick, Ocampo recently made a statement. He said that against Spence, he made some rookie mistakes that he don't plan on making against Fundora. And one point you brought up earlier with Montiel, you said, remember, Montiel fought at a lower weight, but then, you know, at 154, yeah, he got stopped by Munguia, but, you know, he put in that work. We saw what he did at 160. I'm thinking, does Ocampo have a similar opportunity to, you know, is it just confidence or can he show us a la Montiel that he's a much tougher out than we think for Fundora?
It's possible. The only thing I say about Ocampo is I've heard he's been on 11 fight win streak, but I hadn't really seen it.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't seen it, and I can actually vouch for the level of competition of Fundora.
Clearly.
It is possible, but when I look at what happened with Spence, that fight was over very early. Like it was almost like, did you even train? I know it was earlier, and you bigger now, but I think that the less he say going into the fight, the better, and just make that statement in the ring.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Don't quit. Give a good fight, make a showing of yourself, and if you were able to put pause on him, because Fundora can be hit. It's whether or not you got the power enough to be able to, get him out and you can sustain that because he's going to come. So Ocampo need to make a statement. He need to prove himself and at least go the distance. You know what I'm saying? Just don't quit. So, but anything can happen, in my opinion.
One more fight I want to talk about before we get out of here, which I think could also be a sleeper. Egidijus Kavalauskas. Some people call him eggs and cheese, remember, or they call him crabs and lobsters. He fought Terrence Crawford in a very tough fight, but he also lost to Stenonis. You know, these Eastern European guys at welterweight, they were swapping around the belt. I think Butiev got a hold of that belt somehow or another, but Kavalauskas is in there against Michael Fox, brother of Alantez Fox, the Fox brothers. They've been around for a while. What do you think about this fight? I think this one could be a tough fight for Kavaliauskas. I think Fox could come out on the winning end. They may have, Kavaliauskas as the A side in this, but I think Fox could pull an upset. What do you think?
Michael Fox is he also a DMV native.
Okay.
He's from the same area. And I be checking for him as well. I think that he got robbed against Maestro. I was very upset about that. I did a whole video about that. I was very,
Yeah, that was a disgusting decision.
very upset because he boxed very, very well. That was flagrant. That was flagrant by Glory, whatever her name was. But I think Michael Fox can really box. I think he learned, if anything, he should have learned that you can't leave it into the judge's hands. And if there are questionable rounds, or if especially when you have the kind of crowd that sometimes you're going against the crowd and the reaction of the crowd and things like that. So you could be outboxing like Conceição, a la Conceição and Valdez, where he got the showboating, and then, or you kind of rest thinking that you got it won. I think he learned that you never truly have it won. Like, you got to really impose your will. The only thing is, the Green Machine actually has some thump. He did actually, clip Bud, and he also it wasn't ruled a knockdown in the Virgil fight.
Sure.
But he actually got him too, I think. And then he wound up getting stopped with a body shot. But Egas can actually bang, and that's going to be what kind of fight is it going to be? Is Michael Fox going to use his length and his reach and stay on the outside and stick and move, or is he going to go and let himself engage in a internal conflict and let Egas just rock him? So that is a sneaky good fight. I'm pulling for my guy, my DMV native, of course, but that's no pushover fight, and it's a good name for the resume.
Definitely, man. So listen, we had a full packed show. I want you guys to go ahead and search for my guy. Let him know where to find you one more time, champ.
It's Mr. Bodywork Boxing _ and on YouTube is Bodywork Boxing. That's where you can check me out. I'm trying to get onto the lives and everything, but on Instagram, but that's where you can find me. YouTube at Bodywork Boxing. Here at Bodywork Boxing, we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
Ladies and gentlemen, another one in the books for you, King Amin of Essex. Thank you for joining us in those championship rounds. We out.